Hi, welcome to 15.2. Today
Howdy.
we continue our exploration and study of musical elements. According to our music theory book that we've been following to some degree, there are three elements of music, and what are those?
Harmony, rhythm, and melody.
And we've spent some time on harmony where you have an interval, a harmonic interval, two notes playing together.
Oh,
And
true.
it has a certain sound. That's the
Right.
beginning of harmony. How things sound together, right?
Dissonance and
It
consonance.
could be dissonance or consonant, but those are psychological terms, and And then we discussed. Oh, we haven't really worked on melody. In fact, I'm planning to do.
No.
We're going to do melody tomorrow, and I have a very special, interesting exercise with that.
Cool.
Today we are going to explore or learn rhythm. And again, I don't know how much of this you already know from when you studied drums, for example, but you might as well
Yes.
work on it.
I have a bait. Okay. I don't really know it well.
Yeah, but you know kind of, right?
Not really. I know. Well, let's go through the
Right.
basics.
So we've been putting musical notation down, and every time we have used the same kind of note. Do you recall what this is called?
Is that a quarter note?
Quarter, because it's basically quarter, 1/4 of something, 1/4 of something. And I've had us do it over and over and over, just so you get these are quarter notes, and most of our notation exercise, well, these are whole tones, whole notes, but these are quarter notes, actually. Now, we'll remind you, or maybe remind you of things that you knew once. If I'm going to create some music, I need to tell people how much time each of these notes gets.
Right.
And so basically, if we have a big round fat egg without anything stuck on it, that's a whole note, and it has 4 beats.
Okay. Now
We have a fat egg with a tail on it. That is a half note, and it has 2 beats, half of a whole.
Okay.
Then there is the quarter. Notice they're using the whole note as a sort of base. This is half of a whole, this is a quarter, and there's our quarter. It would take 4 of these quarter notes to make one whole note.
Okay.
Then we're going to split that in half to the 8th note, which is really a half of a quarter beat. You see, it's all math, and
Got
somebody has to figure this out.
Well, it's all halves as well.
Yes, half for these kinds of notes, yes. And then we could write the 8th note as a tail with a pretty little dangly doodly on it.
Yes.
Or if we have a couple of them, we would put them connect them together.
So these can't be connected together ever?
No.
Only eighth notes are connected.
And half of an 8th note is a 16th.
Double tail.
Double tails, and then we put a double there.
Okay.
You see
That's
that?
good to know. So we
It
got
sure-
16, eighth, quarter, half, and whole.
Yes, and it is all based on 4s, 2s, 1s, things like that. Now, just to add some complications, you also have dotted notes.
Oh no.
Yes, and you can see things would get extremely complicated. But
Okay.
let's say I have a whole note like this, which would normally have how many counts?
4.
If I put a dot after it, it then adds up to the total of this note plus half of itself, which would be
6.
6. But you see how complicated this gets?
Kind of weird.
Well, somebody had to come up with this system.
Oh, because you needed a 3. Because you need like a 3 and a 5, right?
Why do we need a 3 and a 5? Well, we'll see what we need, whatever the composer wants to do. Now,
Is
let's
the
say
5 a thing? Are there some numbers that you don't ever have?
I think you would. If there's some complicated music in the world, and the more complicated the notation system has to be. Otherwise, we're playing.
But this is a 3.
Now watch
So
this.
that
This
means
is a two
half is
plus a half of itself, makes it a 3.
Okay. So
You
you
see.
could never really have a 5.
Well, there might be a way that you would do that, where you would have, let's say, a half note is at 3 plus, and then we would tie them together.
Oh, okay.
And that added up, here's 3 and a 2, it would be 5.
Nice.
See, things get, it's all mathematical. Now, if we look at, I'm going to show, why don't you come over here, and we'll look at, here's a book of children's pieces by the Hungarian composer Bela Bartok, Album for the Young.
Okay.
And I'm going to play for you, there's the top line of this short piece. And you can watch, it's telling us here the time signature. It's broken up in measures, do you see that?
Yeah.
And each of those measures gets 2 counts. And it's telling us there are 2/4 in each measure. So there should be 2 counts. Well, let's look at the
What's it
first
mean,
one.
2 counts?
This is what kind of note?
I don't know, 16th?
No, over here. It's an eighth.
Okay.
See, it's got 2 notes with tails, or with whatever that is, and then connected.
Okay, 16's got to have 2 lines.
Yes. So those are eighth notes.
Okay.
And 2 eighths make 1. 2
16.
eighths make 1, and together that's 2 counts, and it tells us there
Oh.
should be 2/4, 2 quarter notes in each measure.
Okay.
Now again, that we're thinking. Now let's just follow this.
That's hard.
Yes, of course. I'm going to do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. See, they're connected together.
Yeah.
That tells us I don't ring them again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, obviously, this is the kind of thing a person have to do it over and over and play, and it's eventually becomes sort of automatic. Now, you're going to play a piece of music.
Oh my golly.
It'll
6.5 minutes.
It'll be fun, actually. Where did I go with my thing?
What are you looking for, this top one?
Maybe, oh, here it is. I have written a piece of music.
Oh boy.
Here's my piece of music. It's in the time, this is called a time signature. It tells us that there are 4 beats in every measure. You see 1 measure, 2 measures, 3 measures. There are 5 measures in this piece, right?
Okay.
And in the first
So
measure...
why are some of your measures bigger and some of them smaller? Should they...
You mean the size?
Yeah. Is that a mistake?
Kind of, no, but I'd say more, there are 4 notes here, and they needed to get in here.
But it's not like a set thing, like your measure is always 2 inches. Okay.
These are pretty equal, aren't they? But depends on how much information is in that measure. There might be some that are...
There are differences.
Yeah, a little bit, but
Yeah.
and some would be huge amounts of differences. Very
Okay.
good. But all we care about is that there is the cell of the measure.
Okay.
It's called the measure. And why don't you tell me what kind of note is this?
That's the bass, correct?
Well, first of all, it's a bass. I put it in bass clef.
Yeah.
And it's what note is this?
A.
No, that's a C. These are all C's. I wasn't worried about what they are,
Okay.
but what I'm interested in is how much time does this kind of note get?
Bass clef is C.
Yes, it is. Where the hell? Oh, here it is. What kind of time? If this is a C in the left hand, but how much time does this one get? Over here.
4 beats.
No.
Oh, but there's 2, so 8 total.
No.
What?
It has a tail on it.
Oh, those have tails. I didn't see the tails. Well, wait. Are you pointing to the whole measure or just
I'm just
one
playing
note?
one note.
One note is 2 beats.
Yes, it's a half note.
Okay.
What is
note.
it?
Another half note. Whole note for
And what are these?
eighth.
No.
Quarter notes.
The one that we've been using mostly.
So they got 1 beat each.
Yes.
Then that's back to our half note. So those are 2 beats each.
Yeah, half note, 2 beats, and this is
Quarter note, half note.
okay. Now I am going to play this with clapping, and then if we have time, we'll write some more out, and then you can even write them, and then we'll perform them. So I'm going to count. There are 4 beats in every measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Does that make sense of what I just did?
Yes.
Really? Now you perform that.
All right. Here
And
we
I'll
go.
count the number, and you keep. Well, and you're going. Why don't I do whatever
it's
you
more
find
normal
most
for me.
useful? But you're going to clap
Okay.
the note.
1, 2, 3,
Good.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Very good. How much time do we have now?
I think we're at 5 minutes left.
Oh, good.
No, 2 minutes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. 2 minutes left.
Why
Okay.
don't you write up a piece for us, and we'll keep in the bass. I know it's confusing, but we're going to do this in 4/4 time. Do you understand 4/4?
Yeah.
It's telling us that in every measure there are 4 counts,
Right, okay.
and you are going to,
Why is there 2 4s?
because it's telling us. Just notice up here it tells us it's 2/4 time.
Okay.
This is 2/4 time. He really is going with a lot of 2/4s.
I don't get what the top number means though.
That's telling us how many beats in every one of these measures. It's telling us there are 2 beats. That's why there are 4 eighth notes.
I don't get that.
Well, it hasn't quite dawned in your brain yet. Okay. But we know that in the piece you're going to write, it's in 4/4 time, meaning there are 4.
So that's what we did before with the clappy clap for 4 times for each measure.
Yes, there was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
1, 2.
There's always 4 beats in each measure.
For this time system, sometimes it's 2/4, sometimes it's 3/4. That's a waltz. 1, 2, 2, 3, and it would say 3/4. Sometimes it's 6/8. Things get complicated. Now, your job is to write a song. Just use C as your note. I hope this is working well enough.
We only got 40 seconds.
Okay. Use C as your note, and
C
you
is
can,
here, right?
Yes. That's a quarter note, right?
So I'll do... Gotta do 4, I guess.
Yes. Now you can use other. Now you're using quarter note. Oh, very good.
Since we only have 15
Keep
seconds.
Keep going. That's enough.
All right.
And we'll
Should
put
I
the
try
big
it?
black thing here that tells us it's done. See,
Double line for the end.
Okay, play that for me with your clapping.
Okay. Let's see.
It'll be nice to hear that.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Very good.
Wow.
And
that's
eventually
rough.
we'll use some eighth notes and
Man.
16th notes and some dotteds.
Okay. Yeah.
And which would be, here's 6 beats, 3 beats because it's the whole note plus half of itself. It's all math.